Hi, it's me, Jazzy. I'm back with another tech-related video, and today we're building another little kit. Yes, you might remember ages and ages ago, I did this Amazon Bluetooth boombox kit, and it's been one of my most popular videos and still getting a lot of views now. So recently I got from Temu a Temu Bluetooth boombox in kit form. So what we're going to do today is put that together, give it a test, and we'll compare it against the original one and see which one's best. So let's get over on the bench and see what we got in the kit. So I've been looking forward to this one. Here we go. Bluetooth Boombox 2.0. So you might remember seeing this kit in my recent Temu Tech Tools video. Now we did a Bluetooth boombox ages ago on the channel, and it was from Amazon, and I built the kit and it was really popular, and in fact has been one of my most popular videos for the past year or so. So I figured let's get a Temu one and we'll do Bluetooth Boombox 2.0 Temu style. Suffered a little bit of damage on the corner of the speaker. It's not really going to cause any problems. Okay, as long as it fits in the case, it doesn't matter, does it? This is the acrylic case. You remember how much fun we have with those. So we'll set that aside for now. So this is all our bits and bobs in here. The Bluetooth speaker making kit. I love a good kit, and this should be a good fun one. We've got some instructions, which is a good start. So we've got a 3.5mm jack to jack. We've got a USB cable with nothing on the end of that. That's interesting. I've got a little card here that says MHM18. That looks like the Bluetooth card, that looks like a Bluetooth antenna. That must be the Bluetooth card. And we've got a whole bunch of components. Fantastic, look at that. And of course our PCB. There we go. Oh look, that's where the Bluetooth module goes. Looks fairly straightforward, doesn't it? So we've got a component list here. Detailed tutorial can be obtained by scanning the QR code on your phone if you wish to, but I think we'll be alright. We've got a schematic here, there you go, and we've got a board layout here which gives all the controls and stuff. Look, we've got a step-by-step guide here. What more could you want? So it's kind of like a cube design by the look of it then when it's finished. We've got our instructions, we've got our board, we've got our components. It's about that time to bring in the PCB holder. Odd shaped board, this one. Fit that in. There we go. Let's tighten those up. It's always exciting when you start a new kit, isn't it? Right, so what do we get component wise? Let's sort all our components out into what we've got. Right, we've got a wire there. It's pretty for the speaker. Now resistors, we know we're going to need those first, don't we? We've got those horrible blue ones that I can't see. Super tiny. Just about see that on the camera. Gosh. Of course they're 5-band resistors, they would be. So I'll just make a little pile over here. Oh, we've got a little chip here. We've got so what of that on. That's going to be fun. Okay. LEDs and switches, lots of switches. More switches, more ceramics. Right, there we go, we're ready. Move our resistors over here. And they're labelled. That's very user-friendly. Like to see that in a kit. Let's bring in our PCB then. And let's get cracking. Now, let's have a quick look at the instructions. So, let's see if this is a beginner-friendly kit. It's not bad because it does give you each step by step, and again, as is normal, you start with the lowest profile components. So we've got the resistors first, then we're putting in the Bluetooth board, and then we've got to put in the power amplifier chip. Yeah, so it's basically gone with the flattest things first, which is pretty standard. Okay, we're going to be all right. So we have got 33k, 10k, 12k, and 330 ohm. Now, does it give you the value on the board? It does. That's very handy. Look, tells me that there's a 330 there, which is R3. So what I will do is, this series is aimed at beginners as well as experienced kit builders. I will just check these resistors to make sure we've got the right ones going in the right place. 3 to 3.5 ohms. That is a 330 ohm. Let's see, where does the next 330 go? Considering this kit was under a tenner, if it works, I'll be pretty impressed. So look, they're trying to catch me out here. They've supplied two 330 ohm resistors, but there's definitely only one fitted. There's a 330 there. We've got a 10k there, a 10k there, a 12k there, and a 33k there. So we're not actually using all the resistors that came with the kit. There's something that could catch you out if you've not done many kits before. They have oversupplied on the resistors. Maybe this is a generic pack of components that they supply with various different things. I don't know. Happy days. I have some spare tiny blue resistors. Can't see the colour bands on these. These are tiny. I have no trouble on the larger ones like we had in that last kit. Alright, that is our 10k. Fantastic, and that goes there. We've got another 10k over there, which leaves me one spare. See, if you're a beginner, this is the kind of stuff that's going to catch you out. This is. We've had this with kits sometimes where they've not supplied enough bits. I think this is the first one where we've got random extra bits, isn't it? So we've done our 330, we've done our two 10Ks. We've now got a 12K, just one 12K, even though they've given me three. Okay. All right, so here's our 12K. That's a 12k. Look, that's just gone on to battery warning. That is some impressive battery life out of those. I've been using these for ages and haven't charged them. It's only just gone on to low battery. So that's our 12k resistor goes in there. Fantastic. And we've got one 33k, even though they've given me two. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spare resistors. Very nice. We were into net profit on resistors for this kit now. Right, and this was our 33k. Double check. Yes, it is. Beautiful. Okay, 33k goes in there. Do you know what? Looking more closely at this, there's actually two 12ks there. Look. So we've got 10k, 10k. There's only one 330. There's only one 33k, but there's two 12s there. So actually, I tell a lie, there is only 4 spare resistors, not 5. Right, this is 12k. Yeah, nice. I'm a big fan of the old T7 tester, but I'm just finding these tweezers are just so handy because they're so little, they're just always on my bench. So that's all our resistors in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resistors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have 6 resistors in there. Now I'm going to solder those in. Now again, if you're a beginner, you probably won't want to be soldering so many in at once. I like to do that because I like to get a good batch in one go. Okay, let's get these resistors in. What I will say is they are rather large through holes on this board, so you do need a bit of solder on this. I suppose they're really thin legs as well, these. They're really small components. Okay, I think we've got them all. And now the snipping begins. So if you've never done a kit before, then something like a Bluetooth speaker is quite a good one to start with. Pretty straightforward generally. That's all our resistors in. Fantastic. Now it's telling me that I should put in the M18 Bluetooth audio module. I'll make sure I get this in the right way around. This is sealed for freshness to keep the Bluetooth fresh. There we go. There's our lovely little Bluetooth module. Alright, let's flip this around. We need to be working on this end. Let's just bring in the scrap mag to pick up all these legs. Very handy little device. I'll leave the link in the description for that one. Right, so this could be a tricky one. We need to leave it slightly proud so we can just solder it to these holes here. Just tack that and then I can work my way along. Probably not the neatest bit of work ever, but I think that'll do the job quite nicely. Okay, so now we have to solder in the audio power amplifier chip, which is a HT6872. There it is. It's tiny in the little packet there. It's a Class D power amplifier chip. You will note, if you've not done a kit like this before, you will note there's a little dot there, a little white dot. And that corresponds with the tiny little circle that you see on the bottom left corner of the chip there. So you know that you've got it in the right way. And it does actually very helpfully tell you that in the instructions there. You can see the circle bottom left of the chip lines up with the circle bottom left on your PCB. Very handy. So again, bonus points for decent instructions. Now, I don't normally use flux on these little kits, but I am in this case because it will just help. Right, probably a little bit too much there, but that's okay. Now, to carefully get it in position, which doesn't help when you've got the shakes, give that a little nudge. Okay, yeah, that'll do. Close enough. Now, I'm just going to tack the corners, or attempt to. My hand will stay steady for long enough. There we go. Right. Now, I'm not the neatest at micro soldering, but it will do the job. There we go. That's one. I've just got to do the rest. That's it. Nice. Had to flip it over to do the other side. Alright, okay, well, it's not great, but it's in there. I'm definitely no micro soldering expert. Wow, that's not neat at all, but it'll do the job. And that's all that matters in this case. Right, so what's next is the dial potentiometer 50K. Right, that is quite clearly this one. This needs to be protruding out the side like that. Now obviously if I flip that over, this is some multitasking here. I'm holding the potentiometer on from the bottom of the board. We'll just get one tacked in. That's it, then I can let go of it. Right, there you go. You can of course just lay the board flat on your bench and put something under it maybe to just hold it. Potentiometer is in. Fantastic. What's next? Monolithic capacitors. Okay, monolithic capacitors are here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. Good old 104s. Got one that goes here because it's marked 104 on the board. Okay, so that's C1. Now some of these, the numbering is not that apparent. I know I said the board was nicely marked, but it does say 104 on the board, and that's clearly where it's located in the photo. Here's C10. Again, it's marked 104. And we've got one more to go in here, which is C9. Again, it's marked as 104. Right, so let's get those soldered in, shall we? It's taking shape quite nicely, this one. Fantastic. Okay, clip those off. So the ceramic capacitors are in. There we go. It's really starting to look like something now, isn't it? Now we've got to solder in a 3.5mm audio socket. Okay, which is this one, because this is going to sit right here. There we go. 3.5mm audio jack. So I will sit that one on my board there so I can get that in nice and flat. Nobody likes a wonky audio jack. Now when I did the unboxing of this in the Temu mailbag, one of my viewers asked if we could do a comparison with the original Bluetooth boombox. It's been quite a while since we did that video. Right, what is next? We have a level driver chip. This is a KA2284. So this is a 5-dot LED level meter driver chip. And again, you need to make sure the end that's got the little circle on it is at this end of the board, i.e. next to the 3.5mm jack that we just put in. There we go. So that's going to sit in nicely there. Again, I'm just going to lay that flat on my bench because then I can get that in nice and easy. Right, just going to make sure we haven't bridged any terminals there. I think we're okay. What is the next? Horizontal side buttons. Now there are 1, 2, 3 of these, which we do indeed have 3. So I'll do the same again. We'll just have the board upside down on the bench, because otherwise if I put it in the PCB holder, this will have a tendency to want to plummet. The trouble with gravity, it loves electronic components. Right, I'm going to need a fair bit of heat on these. Okay, that's one. Can probably get these both in one go, I think. Let's give it a go, shall we? Right, it's really starting to look something now. Right, there we go. So our push buttons in. Okay, so what's next? We did our 3 little switches. Now we've got to do some electrolytics. Right, okay. So we need to put this back in. Got to put it in such a way that I'm not going to smush anything. I think we'll go like that. I can see on the parts list here on the back, it gives me a breakdown of where the electrolytics go. We should have 2 1 microfarad. As always, the long leg positive. 956 nanofarads. Awesome. Okay, now so these are the 1 microfarad C2 and C7. So we've got C2 is there. So you've got the white part of the electrolytic there indicating the negative, so that wants to go to the white part of the PCB. There you go, so that's C2, and now I need C7, which is here. You can just about see that hatching on there. We've got 210 microfarad. Yep, okay. I'm just in the habit of always checking them now. C3 and C6. So there's C3 and positive is there. And C6. Where is C6? There's C6 there. That's it. 2 more to go, and they are our 470 microfarad, which are C4 and C5. Well, they're quite easy to spot, aren't they? Goes there. Does actually say 470 microfarad on the board. It's just where there's components quite tightly packed, it's not so obvious. Right, that's all the electrolytics in, so let's solder those. Okay, that's all the electrolytics in. We're really getting somewhere now, aren't we? Alright, let's clip these legs off. Fabulous. Look at that. That's looking quite smart now, isn't it? I love it when you start getting your board populated and it really starts to look like something really cool. The next step is the blue and white potentiometer. That's got to go in. That's a 10k potentiometer, and it goes in 103, which is here. That will stay there long enough for me to do a bit of sideways soldering. Why not? As long as it stays put, then we're all right, aren't we? Knowing my luck, if I flip it right over, that potentiometer is going to fall right out of there. Okay. We're safe now. Okay, but that's in though. The 5mm LEDs, which have got to be soldered in the sequence shown there. This is like our LED meter. So you've got 3 blues, a green and a red, and these are here on this edge. So now we're finding it more and more difficult to locate this in a position in the PCB holder. Good old OmniFixo time, I think. Now, of course, these are polarized, and much like our friends, the electrolytics, the long leg positive. We do have a plus and a minus marked nicely on the board here. I'll just give that electrolytic a little nudge because I didn't put it in very straight. It was having a bit of a lean there. Maybe it's tired. That's the red one. And now the green. 1 more to go. That's it. That looks pretty good to me. Now we've got to solder those in. Just got to be careful where I'm clamping at the moment. I think there's 1 switch and a couple of terminal blocks, and we're there. Then we can hook up the speaker. I'm looking forward to testing this. Okay, that is LEDs completed. Fantastic. Fantastic. Right, clean up time. What's next? What's next? What's next? A horizontal self-locking switch. Fantastic. That'll be the on-off switch. And it is indeed self-locking and horizontal. Nice. That goes here. That's it. Perfecto. Now we can just do that flat on the bench. 6 pins to solder in on this one. This is a much easier construction than the previous boombox kit, because I think with the last kit there was a pre-made module which had all the controls and stuff on it, and then basically all you were soldering up was the LED driver board. I think the confusion on the other kit, if memory serves correctly, was where the two boards were joined together, where they were wired up. There was nothing in the instructions to tell you where to put the power. I think I just put it on the other side of the board or something. It's the self-locking switch, which is indeed self-locking. Got these two little terminal blocks here. These must be the knob covers for the switches and things. I don't know that these two are actually used, because they've just soldered the USB cable on the bottom of the board there. The speaker wire's soldered there and the USB's soldered there. Makes you wonder why they've given you these, and there is space for them there. Well, they've just soldered it onto the board, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to save these because I can use those for something else. Here is the speaker out. It's labelled on the back. That's really nice, isn't it? So all I'm going to do is the same as what they've done then. Weird that they're not mentioned on the parts list. So I've got so far 4 spare resistors and 2 screw terminals. I'm doing well for parts count out of this kit. There we go. Obviously, yeah, I could put it through the hole, but you can do that if you wish. The thing is, once it's in the case, there's not really going to be any strain going on this, is there? If it was something I was going to be pulling on and plugging and unplugging, yeah, I might have considered a stronger joint. But do you know what? It's going to do the job. Let's go with what they've shown in the instructions. They've done exactly that. Big blob of solder, just put the wires under the board. So let's just do that. It's going to be fine either way. I mean, that's not going nowhere. Who's going to be pulling on that inside the little acrylic case? Ants? I guess if you had a case of speaker ants, maybe. Now, where did I put the USB that came with this? There it is. Do I have to put this through the case before I solder it onto something? See, it just looks like it sort of comes out the bottom underneath that switch. Let's go ahead and solder it on. Okay, plus 5 volt is the red one. Now, see, I was tempted to put those terminal blocks on. I'm now thinking maybe I should, but these are really tiny wires though. I think I actually prefer this to trying to get them in that little terminal block. It's there, it's on there. It's good enough. Hey, I've made the decision now. I'm following the instructions to the letter. Right or wrong? Your mileage may vary. If you decide to, you can use the terminal blocks. I just think these are quite useful. I'm losing the plot, but that's okay. Sometimes you have to. You have to lose the plot to find the plot. Now I've got to solder this end onto the speaker. It is marked plus and minus. That's convenient. I am going to strip a bit of this so I can put it through the holes, because the speaker's going to be fiddly, which is what I could have done on the board. You could do that as well. You could just strip the wires a bit more and put them through the holes. I decided that I was going to do it the way they showed me on the bit of paper. To be honest, as long as you're happy with it and it works and you've got a good solder joint and your item is going to work, does it matter? It's also ever so slightly dependent on how much I'm shaking that day. That's fine. That's fine. That will do the job. So I think in essence, that's the kit assembled completely. So there we go. There's our main board complete and hooked up to the speakers and hooked up to the USB. Now comes the fun part, building the case. So now we need to fix this to the base. base. Where is the base? The base is this one because it's got all the holes in. Now, normally I use a little screwdriver to push up the corner, but somebody said to me I could try tape. So let me try that. I can see how that might work. Oh, genius. Whoever that was that commented that you can use tape, look, yes, you totally can use tape. Okay, that was slightly less of a faff than it normally is. Yeah. Okay, doesn't always work. Maybe that was a fluke. Now, it might be that I'm using the wrong type of tape to do that trick. I only have gaffer tape handy. We've got one bit. It can surely only go that way because the orientation of the holes. Got a little bag of screws here. So here we go. Try not to lose any. This is where the instructions have been quite good for building the electronic part of the kit. But when it comes to the case, they're slightly lacking. But then that's often, no pun intended, that's often the case. I do have the nut spinners that I got from Temu, but I'm not impressed with them because not only is the chrome plating coming off, they're also slightly dished on the bottom, which means you can't always get hold of a nut properly. I don't need to do these up too tight anyway because I'm going to end up cracking the acrylic. I did that on the first kit. When I built the first one, I tightened something up too much, I think. Or was it something was too much of a tight fit? Alright, so that should now just sit on there. And it does. Beautifully. Considerable array of screws here. So by trial and error, if you do buy this kit, use the short screws to screw down your PCB. It's always a voyage of discovery building one of these acrylic cases. What was there was one I had before that was really rather confusing, with the holes lining up with stuff. I can't remember which one it was now. Oh, it was the valve amp kit, wasn't it? You had to have the panels the right way round or they didn't line up. Okay, there we go. That's the bottom done. Now we need to affix the speaker to this one. So that's obviously, see, I've got it the wrong way around. Right, so that's obviously going to go like that, isn't it? So we now got to find some little nuts and bolts to mount this speaker here. So I'm guessing the rest of these little nuts and bolts are for attaching the case together, like last time, which I remember was rather fiddly. Right, there we go. So that's looking good, isn't it? Okay, now we've got two sides and then the back. So that looks to me like it's going to clip into there, and then that clips into there. It's got to go like that, hasn't it? That's it. Nice, and then just the back to go on, but then I've somehow got to get these tiny little screws in. Right. Get it the right way round. Yes. We're going to magnet this to one screwdriver. This is very fiddly. Make sure all the tabs are in, otherwise it's not going to sit flat. So we've got to get one more nut in there, and then we've got to do the same on the top. That's it. Carefully lowering the nut into position. Actually, the more of these you do, the more you get quite good at positioning the nut in the little notch. Now we just got to do the top and we're there. Oh, there you go, practice. Right, here we go, last one going in. Now we got it. That's it, don't over tighten. Whatever we do, don't over tighten. There, we've got it. We've got to put these on. Got our little push buttons here. Not that we know what they do, but they do something. And we've got our little potentiometer here. Guessing that could be volume, not too sure. Here we go, this is for our on-off. Beautiful. Got our on and off. 3.5mm jack there. USB lead coming out a hole in the bottom. Lovely. Brilliant. But there we go. Bluetooth boombox Mark II with colourful LEDs which are almost in a straight row. Now, one thing that I always forget to do on these Bluetooth kits, because I did it with the previous one, is to adjust that little potentiometer down the bottom there. That sets the level for the LEDs, because you're either going to have them that they don't come on or that they're always on. So you want them somewhere in the middle. So it's a good top tip. It doesn't always mention that in the instructions of these things, to adjust that little blue and white potentiometer before you put this lid on, because this lid is really fiddly when you have to keep taking it on and off. Anyway, let's power up our little Temu speaker, shall we? Great thing is, just runs off 5V USB. Nice and convenient. So you can run it off a battery pack. Make some cute little noises to announce itself that it's here. So let's see if we can hook up to it, shall we? It's showing up here as an MHM18. It's connected. That's a good sign. Let's put some music in. Time for some crab rave, of course. Oh, here we go. Oh, so this is your volume. Yep, that does your volume there. And what have we got here? Oh, that does last track, next track. And that disconnects it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that's works okay. Sounds not bad at all. Obviously got a 3.5mm jack in the back there if you want to put a different audio source into it. A very non-scientific test. Comparison between this and the one that I built previously. The distance here the same, and I'm going to use the same part of the same test track. Full volume on the phone, full volume on the Bluetooth speaker. This is an extremely non-scientific test, by the way. This is all the background noise, partly from me talking, but partly from various fans and equipment that are running in the area around me. So with the dB meter on max hold, you can see we're peaking at around 91.5 decibels. Of course, we can experiment with other different ranges on here, but as long as I'm comparing both speakers at the same distance roughly and on the same mode, then I'm happy. This is a very non-scientific test, but it's interesting to compare the two. So this one, it functions fine. It sounds great. Sounds pretty good to me. Let us bring in our special guest that we've not seen for a very long time, the Amazon Bluetooth boombox speaker. Now this, I built this ages, well, what seems like ages ago. I think it was just over a year ago on the channel, and it was one of my most popular videos and still is. Still get a lot of comments on it. Now, if you remember, I split the panel when I was assembling it. I have actually replaced the back panel because I bought another case and replaced that because it was a shame that I cracked it. But this one, obviously, it's not a direct comparison because it's got two speakers and they point out both ends. I'd quite like to try one where it has both speakers pointing forwards. So it's not a fair comparison really, because this is just a single speaker, this is a double speaker. I think the Temu one looks ever so slightly bigger, and it definitely has a bigger magnet on it. So even though it's a single speaker, it's slightly bigger with a bigger magnet. So I'm going to do same test again, roughly same distance away. Oh, there we go. Right. This one also has a remote control. But bear in mind, I think when I bought this, I think it was something like £16. And this was about £8 from Temu. So it's quite a lot less money. And this is pretty loud in itself. But somebody did ask me in the comments, could we have a comparison between the two? So here you go. Here is your comparison. It's on full volume, which is 30. Phone is on full volume, same part of the same song. Play that same song. Now we're getting slightly lower, but I think that is obviously because the speakers are pointed there, whereas this one was pointing directly at my meter. That's now closer, so I'm going to have to move that further away. Let's test it this way. So even with just the one speaker pointed at it, not a lot in it, to be honest. They've got both got differences. Neither of them audibly seem to be distorting. With both of them on full volume, there was no audible distortion that I could discern. And I've tried it with several different tracks, which again I can't play because of copyright. I didn't notice any particular distortion. Both of them sound good. This one sounds quite crisp and clear, quite surprising for a speaker that cost £8 that you put together on your bench. So yeah, given that this is half the cost of this, it goes pretty much as loud. It's just that obviously you got two speakers on this one. Both of these were really fun kits to build. This one, the instructions were severely lacking. I remember that's why a lot of people have been contacting me to ask about some of the assembly steps with the Amazon one. One thing that was really unclear is that the power from the switch goes into your Bluetooth module there, but how do you power your board with your LEDs on? It does have a little plug there, but there was nothing showing where they go to. So all I've done, and you can probably see there, is I've just soldered them to the bottom of that connector because it all just needs a 5V DC. So I just took a 5V feed off the bottom of that connector there, and that's all I've done. Other than that, the instructions show you pretty much how to wire that one up. The instructions with this are actually pretty good, to be honest. Didn't really have any problems building that. The only query really I had was with these little connectors, which yes, I could have used them. There is a point to be argued there that if I'd used them, maybe it would have been a bit neater. But as they showed on the instructions, they just soldered the wires to the bottom of the board. I've done the same. Works fine. Means I've got two little spare connectors now to use for something else. So there you go, the Temu Bluetooth boombox. I believe it cost around £8, so it was good value, and I had great fun putting it together. And you know what? It doesn't actually sound too bad. It's got a reasonable amount of volume and sounds pretty good for the money. Plus, it's a nice little, easy little kit as well. So if you're a beginner and you've not done many electronics kits before, or even if you're an expert and you like doing an electronics kit of an evening to relax, it is quite therapeutic putting one of these little kits together. I quite enjoy it, to be honest. So there you go, Bluetooth boom boxes. Who knew they could be so much fun to put together? So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, putting this Bluetooth boombox kit together. As always, massive thanks to everyone for watching, sharing, liking and subscribing. If you'd like to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, it's always massively appreciated and helps to support the channel. I'll be back soon with some more tech related videos, but in the meantime, take care and I'll see you on the next one.